Warning, the trap is being set right now to wreck as many people as possible across the crypto markets. And what happens next in the crypto charts will create even more confusion. In this video, I'm going to share with you the blueprint of exactly what is happening behind the scenes in crypto right now and what will continue to play out for the next few months ahead. By understanding the blueprint, you're going to know exactly when to be entering and when to be exiting this market, because there's a game being played behind the scenes. And if you fail to understand that, you will just become a tool of the smart money that runs this market. This is one of the most important videos that I have made in months. Do me a favor, hit the like button. Let's find out how it all works. Now guys, before we dive in and find out exactly what that trap is and what is playing out right now in the markets, just a quick disclaimer. Nothing I say in this video is financial advice. Everything I say is for entertainment purposes only. If you wish to invest in crypto, you should understand that it's risky and you can lose money. So don't risk money that you can't afford to lose, and always do your own research before investing in anything. Now that we got that out of the way, let's crack on with it. Now guys, I know the crypto market is dipping again today. Just a few days ago, it was pumping. We were all getting excited again. And lo and behold, we're back to where we were just a few weeks ago. And this has been playing out time and time again over the last few weeks, months, years. People are tired. People don't want to take this anymore. And guess what? It's all happening for a reason. This is all by design. There are people who control this crypto market and how this crypto market moves. And if you can understand exactly how they're controlling it, then you're going to gain conviction in understanding what happens next. And by understanding what happens next and key telltale signs of when to start exiting this market, you're going to be one of the 5% of people who actually make money in crypto. 95% of people lose money in crypto. That's not a made-up statistic. The majority of people here will lose, okay? If you can understand, though, what I'm going to teach you, you have a good chance of making some money, perhaps even lots of money in this market. So why are we seeing all of this confusion right now? Why is this bull market different to the last few? Well, this bull market, you may have been aware, has been lasting for quite a long time now. Bitcoin and Ethereum seem to have been running since back in 2022. A lot of altcoins out there, however, have had a pretty tough old time. So what's the difference? Why are we seeing Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and a handful of other larger cap coins having really pretty good bull markets while the rest of the market seems dead? Well, because this bull market is very different from the last one. In the last bull market, when Ethereum was yet to break all-time highs from the previous bull market, which was back in early 2021, there was literally no retail. Very few retail investors, in fact. Okay, not no retail. For someone who wants to correct me down below, there was retail investors, but just not that many. The majority of people from the last bull market joined in Q4 of 2021. That was the end of the bull market, the blow-off time, the worst time to potentially be entering into the market. Okay, and then what happened is the market came down. Then people have started to join throughout this bull market. So really, like 90% of people in crypto right now probably weren't even in crypto until late 2021. And I would gather that many of you who entered in late 2021, correct me if I'm wrong, lost a lot of money. Tell me down below what you lost. But many people as well have been losing money throughout this bull market as well, because it's been choppy, it's been confusing, and it's happened for a reason. It's been confusing because the smart money needs to keep you out as long as possible. You being retail investors. Retail investors didn't exist early in the last bull market. So Bitcoin, Ethereum rallied and altcoins kind of rallied after that. Everything went to plan. Right now, though, we've seen mini bull market rallies. Everyone's got too excited, probably a little bit too early, and then we've come back down again. Remember, the confusion is created to keep you out the markets. And while you are here in the markets right now, and maybe you're all in, good for you, because you've probably been doing your research, you probably subscribed to the channel. Many people are still not even here. No one's even looking. There's people who probably lost a lot of money this cycle or last cycle who don't even want to be involved in crypto. They will be back, and they will be back at the wrong time yet again. Inevitably, they will always enter when the market hits a certain point, and we'll get to that point later on. So where are we at right this second, and why should you not be that concerned despite all this chop that we're seeing right now? Well, this is the Ethereum chart. And if you remember back to a video I made a few weeks ago and a tweet that I put out around the 22nd of September, then you've probably seen this before. Down below, you've got the Wyckoff accumulation, which is a 100-year-old chart pattern from Richard Wyckoff, who in the 1920s identified that the big Wall Street whales were using various different price actions to shake out retail investors and weak hands, etc. And they were basically using this to know when to enter, etc. Now, as you can see, according to this, we have an SOS phase, which we are still still sat in right now. Ethereum right now at the time of making this video is $4,350. It's still shaking around in the SOS phase, phase D. Final point of confusion across retail investors who are still not really sure whether this can be a bull market. Because when phase E hits, which is a massive leg up, where Ethereum will break clean beyond this previous all-time high. Yes, we tipped above it the other day, but we need to clean break above it. When that happens, that's going to cause the market to understand for real that this is actually a bull market and it hasn't all just been completely fake. Okay? When retail starts to feel like that, there is only a finite amount of time for the smart money, the whales, to manipulate the market. Now, who might those whales be? I hear you cry. Well, you've probably heard of a few people. Donald Trump has his World Liberty Finance organization that's run by his two sons. Donald Trump is pretty heavily involved in crypto. He's the crypto president. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager with $9 trillion of assets under management, heavily invested in Bitcoin. Despite thinking that Bitcoin was BS in the last bull market, they've done a full 180. Isn't it interesting how BlackRock seem to have been less educated than a lot of retail investors in how important Bitcoin and crypto might be? Yeah, convenient, right? They basically have started to identify that there's opportunity here. Now, they might have been saying it for a long time, but the price hasn't reflected it. So, no one is trusting what's going on behind the scenes. They, however, have been accumulating massively at every given opportunity. Like when the Japan carry trade happened last year in August, massive panic set in. And then we had this. The trade tariff wars, the first iteration of the trade tariff wars, like this when we had like World War III for 24 hours. And then this was like Trade Wars 2.0. And then something else happened recently that I can't even remember. And then lo and behold, Bitcoin continues to go up. Every single time the market gets shaken out, lo and behold, Bitcoin gets bought up in massive quantities by BlackRock, World Liberty Finance, all the people who are mates with Donald Trump and everyone else in the know of how this market really runs. Okay, now media is used by them as a tool to show you where the market's going. Now, this is used in conjunction with market makers and exchanges. Binance, Coinbase. It shouldn't confuse you to understand that the people behind these exchanges have been meeting with Donald Trump, have been meeting with BlackRock, have been meeting with all sorts of other people. Okay? This market is controlled by very few because remember, very few can make money while the majority have to lose because lots of money has to go funneled into the hands of a few. So if we know that there's confusion right now and we're not too sad and salty that we're not part of BlackRock and whatever else, and we just have to accept that if we can't beat them, we should join them, then we can understand what the game plan is about to be. Let me show you what is about to happen. When Ethereum rallies above this point, you're going to move into a point of hope and excitement. And that's where everyone else is going to end up as well. Now, that's good for you because you've been in crypto. The majority of people haven't been paying attention for the last few months. They've been sidelined. They've not been interested. Those people will start to come back. And when they start to come back, they will start to add more money. Everyone starts to add more money because they start to make money. Right now, you might have been pulling money out, which is what people tend to do when the market's in fear. And there's a lot of people who are yet to even join the crypto markets, have never even purchased any Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever else. They will eventually start to get into the market. They're going to be getting in because you and all your buddies have been telling them how much money you've been making on Pengu and Aether and all the coins that I talked about in my portfolio video just yesterday. Make sure you go and check that out after this video so that you understand the full game plan of why loading up right now before altcoin season is probably a reasonable bet. And then you're going to understand how the game plays out. So once that starts to play out, people start to get excited. Now, you won't get everybody aping into the market just yet because they're still going to be like, well, yeah, this guy, he already told me back in like September last year that it was a great time to get into crypto and I got into this coin and that coin and it went down. So I don't trust anyone. Hey, and then you're still going to be in that kind of period of time where no one trusts anyone. But people will start to believe in something they can trust when it starts to hit mainstream media. This is what happens. And as the market continues to rally, you're going to start to see Ethereum hits an all-time high on BBC, on Fox News, on CNBC, or whatever it is that you're watching around the world. You're going to start to see this happening. You're then going to start to hear lots of other exciting news stories about people making tons of money on NFTs or on Doge, like in the last bull market when Elon Musk tweeted about Dogecoin, or when Justin Bieber bought a CryptoPunk NFT or a Bored Ape or whatever it was. These kind of celebrity endorsements will start to come in as well. Everyone will start to focus their attention in this direction. And then guess what happens? This gets more and more furious, more and more exciting. And all of this is controlled by two things: media and price action. Who controls the media? I hear you cry. Well, the people I've already named. Also, who controls the price action? Well, the market makers with the exchanges and everyone else. So when people are in the comments being like, well, this bull market won't be the same because retail's not here and retail won't come in. First of all, you are retail. Okay? I don't know what you are. Are you Larry Fink's May? You are retail. And on top of that, the rest of retail who comes in to buy from people who are in the market right now, they come in because the price goes up. They don't come in at the bottom because they've heard the market's going to be good. They come in at the worst time because the market pumps and all their buddies and the news and everyone's telling them to get in. It's all by design. So everyone likes to come up with all the reasons and whatever behind why this market can pump, but this market pumps because of basically control. Now, why is the market not pumping yet? I hear you cry. Well, because the market has been held back until the liquidity exists in the system big enough to support a crazy blown bull market. Yeah? Happens time and time again. So how do we know it's coming? Well, because we're at the end of the 18.5-year housing market cycle. Now, this comes from Jason Pozzino, who has a very interesting channel talking about macroeconomics and its link with crypto, and also what's going on with Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe a handful of the larger altcoins, etc. But he's basically brought up this chart, which is over 100 years old, saying that every 18.5 years, there is a housing market cycle that goes between booms and busts. And within this cycle, you have two mini bull markets and one major blow-off-top bull market, the final bull market. And guess what? We are in the end of that 18.5-year housing market cycle. Because if you can think back to 18.5 years, for those of you who are old enough to do it, you can remember 2008 financial crisis, right? If you ever tried to find a job around that time, I personally graduated from university, not a great time to be graduating, which is why I made a career in crypto YouTube rather than actually working at somewhere probably more reputable. But, you know, this is how it plays out. Then you'll understand that's what happened at the end of the last cycle. But just before that, okay, the 2007s and whatever, people were making insane amounts of money. People were making crazy money. If you watch The Big Short, where people are selling people properties on stupid mortgage loans and whatever else, everyone was making tons of money. That same thing is pretty much happening now. I mean, look at gold, look at the stock market, look at housing, look at everything right now. They're all pumping like crazy. Bitcoin has been pumping like crazy. Ethereum sits at all-time highs. But the wider altcoin market is yet to get going. It doesn't have the excitement and the hype that it needs for the smart money who entered earlier into Bitcoin and ETH and larger caps to be able to exit yet. But they will be exiting at some point. And this is what it basically will continue to be. So everyone gets hyped, excited, market moves higher. Altcoins start to rally like crazy when people who have been invested in Bitcoin and Ethereum have started to make some good money. They're then like, well, I want to start to make more money elsewhere. They then go and ape into all the altcoins. All the altcoin owners, they'll then push money into marketing and everything else to pump the prices of their coins, causing retail just FOMO into whatever trend's hot from one day to the next. This is what altcoin season is, and it's why it's very dangerous and will be the most dangerous time, because this is the final phase into the 18.5-year housing market cycle. And the next bear market will be horrendous, okay? Not only will it be horrendous, but there's a good chance that a lot of jobs in the job markets also go away. So I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm telling you the importance of trying to actually do well in this bull market and not just treating it like some sort of gamble at the races or whatever. There is a potential that the next bear market, global bear market, not just crypto, could be pretty painful. Okay, just a bit of a warning for you. And just to prove to you that this is the way that everything works and that you should not be concerned in crypto until everyone starts to get hyped and excited, well, here it is. This is the Bitcoin chart. When did we feel most bullish over the last few years? Let's think about it. Was it probably back in December or January when Donald Trump launched a meme coin, and the day that Donald Trump told everyone that he was going to be pro-crypto and we were going to get the United States of America buying crypto and everything was pretty good? Do you remember that? Well, I remember that. And do you know who else remembers that? Old Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock. Now, I was just trying to do some research earlier. I just decided to search Larry Fink Bitcoin 300K to see whether or not I could find something. And I came down below. This is on the Brave browser, which is pretty crap compared to the Chrome browser, but maybe a bit more secure. I went down and look, on the 23rd of March, Larry Fink, CEO, says Bitcoin's going to go between 500K and 700,000. 26th of January. Look at these. NASDAQ, Bitcoin News, Decrypt, DL News, The Motley Fool, Yahoo Finance, CoinDesk, Forbes, 23rd of January. 23rd of January. Look at it, guys. Look at this. Insane. Let's go back to the Bitcoin chart and just look what happened on the 23rd of January. Okay? 2023, 23rd of January, was here. Interesting, right? How interesting that Larry Fink, the CEO of the world's largest asset management company, would call for a massive pump in crypto at the time, which is probably the worst time. If you told your friend to buy on this day, you are probably not friends with them anymore, okay? And if you have a friend who told you that, you're probably not friends with them anymore. Because after that, market tanks, okay? Sells off. And Bitcoin came down, yeah, not actually that much, but Ethereum came down harder, very hard in fact, and altcoins came down massively, massively hard, okay? This is how you know everything is controlled. The feelings that you have, if they are linked to the performance of the price chart, are the wrong feelings to have. Okay? Avoid being too emotionally involved with what's happening on these charts. When everyone's scared and worried and fearful, that's when you should be bullish. When everyone is kind of in the middle and whatever else, bearing in mind that we're in a bull market because we haven't had that kind of crazy blow off top phase. Yes, we had a mini bit of excitement here. Well, how do I know that that wasn't the top back then? Well, because Bitcoin is now higher. So how could that possibly have been the top? Because now the top is higher than that. For those of you trying to outsmart me down below, okay? Anyway, we need to wait for the next phase of whenever it is for this to happen, okay? And it happens very fast because when this breaks through here, okay, it's going to start to create euphoria, excitement across the crypto markets. And when that happens, you need to be cautious and stay away from it. Now, one of the easiest things to do, okay, go and follow people on Twitter. First of all, follow me, Peter_THOC, because I'll keep you up to date with what's going on. Also, under the likes of Alex Becker, Crypto Lark, and a lot of like YouTubers who've been in the space for a long time and have bigger channels for sure than me over the longer period of time, go into the comments down below. You might be feeling good and you might be feeling bullish and confident because things have been playing out in the long run, pretty much like we kind of anticipated that they would. Many people out there are still scared, panicked, worried right now. That's not all-time high behavior, okay? The behavior of people is such an easy thing to do. When we are seeing shakeouts in the market like we're seeing right now, I'm really not concerned. This is just the SOS phase of Wyckoff, right? How low can ETH come? Maybe we're lucky enough that ETH gets down to here and then does that. But ultimately, this is what we should expect to really be playing out in the coming kind of day or so ahead. Okay, because this is what's happening in ETH. And within, I would say, a week to 2 weeks, Ethereum's going to break all-time high and the wider altcoin market's going to go bananas, okay? And I'm able to stick to that conviction because I understand, like crazy, the sentiment, and I understand the macroeconomics of what drives this market, and I understand that this market is fully manipulated by people with much more money and influence than me and you, probably. So just remain calm. In the short term, everything is fine. Everything is going to get very much more exciting, and when it starts to get more exciting, then you should think, maybe I should be a little bit more cautious. But it will take a month or two for that to play out. Now, guys, if you want to have more in-depth understanding of what is really happening in crypto, so that you can understand for yourself where we're at from day to day and be able to watch over my shoulder on Zoom calls, which we do once a week, as well as be able to interact with me and be able to interact with 3 other experts who are working full-time in crypto, then make sure you join the Moon House, which is linked down below in the description. We're not going to be keeping that open probably for that many more weeks because I kind of want to keep it smaller as we move through this bull market to be able to manage each and every one individual with as much attention as they deserve. So if you are worried or thinking that you might miss out, make sure you get into that as soon as possible. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, found it useful. Ain't nothing to worry about. Go check out my portfolio video that I made yesterday so that you can be able to prepare yourself for things that are coming along, okay? Remain calm, everything's all right. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.